News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and 98.3 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
Sheriff's deputies going far and wide throughout the county giving evacuation warnings. Good morning, everyone. Montana Morning, Wednesday, August 2nd, 2017. The wind's blowing right now. There's a red flag warning until 6 o'clock this evening because of the high winds. And right now we do have 63 degrees. The sky's very smoky throughout western Montana. Air quality in Missoula right now listed as moderate, unhealthy for Seeley Lake, and unhealthy for sensitive groups in Hamilton. Our newscast sponsored by the Bitterroot Tour of Homes, August 18th to the 20th. For ticket information, see them online at bitterrootbia.com. One of our top stories this morning, the Missoula County Sheriff's deputies stretched to the limits, spreading out over the county to issue evacuation warnings from the Lolo area all the way to Seeley Lake. Spokeswoman Brenda Bassett said there are 3 areas now under a Stage 1 evacuation warning, starting with the Lolo Peak Fire.
Right now, they're giving evacuation warnings to approximately 100 homes on the south side of Highway 12 from Elk Meadows Road to Fort Fizzle, and that includes Miller Creek. So we just want residents to know there that they are under an evacuation warning, which is different than an order.
Bassett said there are 2 different areas in Seeley Lake that are under Stage 1 evacuation warnings. The first were issued Sunday for the Liberty Fire. Bassett addressed the orders for the Rice Ridge Fire.
So residents on both sides of Highway 83 south of Rice Ridge Road and immediately south of Cotton Lakes Road east of Highway 83 and then extending to Double Arrow Ranch are all under evacuation warning.
Bassett said officials are trying to contact everyone who lives in those affected areas. Bassett said now is the time to prepare for the worst.
They just really need to start taking every precaution to pre-plan and pre-evacuate if they feel that they need to. But we definitely emphasize thinking about options for your livestock. If you have a family member that maybe has disabilities, to start just pre-planning. We also encourage people to enroll in Smart 911.
The Granite County Sheriff's Office has issued evacuation orders due to the Sapphire Complex fires burning in the Rock Creek drainage. Mandatory evacuations are from Hogback Homestead south of the Kyle Bornson Memorial Bridge. Those residents need to leave immediately. Pre-evacuation warnings are from Hogback Homestead north to Butte Cabin. Residents leaving the area are advised to exit north on Rock Creek Road. Also, Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks announced yesterday they're closing all of Seeley Lake, effective immediately, for public safety, while crews are using the lake water to fight the Rice Ridge Fire. The closure applies to all recreation such as boating, swimming, wading, and fishing so that aircraft crews can safely operate as they dip water from the lake. Officials say the closure will be in place until fire crews no longer need to use the lake for suppression efforts. There was so much smoke in the town of Seeley Lake this morning that the public was warned to stay indoors and to avoid exertion outside because of the hazardous conditions. At this time, at least 400 residents at Seeley have received evacuation warnings, as we just mentioned. Missoula County Air Quality Specialist Sarah Cofield explains what's going on.
The Rice Ridge Fire is only 3 miles outside of Seeley Lake, and it's positioned on a ridge in such a way that overnight all of the smoke that's being produced by that fire is just going to roll downhill into town. As the sun sets, the smoke that's produced by the fire is coming down and gathering in the Seeley Lake Valley.
Cofield said the Liberty Fire is also pumping smoke into the area, and the dense smoke is making it difficult, even the sun, to help clear the air.
Every night, every valley has an inversion of some level where the cool air from the mountains rolls down and settles in the valley floor, and then as the sun rises, it heats that ground up, and then that cool air warms up and can rise. Well, in Seeley this morning, the smoke was thick enough that the sun couldn't really penetrate down to the ground to warm it up.
The Montana Department of Environmental Quality has issued an air quality alert for Deer Lodge, Granite, Jefferson, Lewis and Clark, Mineral, Missoula, Powell, Ravalli, and Silverbow counties, in effect until 9 o'clock this morning due to the numerous wildfires burning in western Montana. Montana's worst fire season in years is expected to scorch the drought-stricken landscape well into fall, long after the state's firefighting reserves run out, thanks to politicians diverting millions of dollars to fill a budget shortfall. State Department of Natural Resources and Conservation Director John Tubbs said there's only $12 million left of the $63 million in the firefighting fund in June, and the state is burning through that at the rate of $1.5 million a day. The state's financial worries come as forecasters for the National Interagency Fire Center predict that eastern Montana, southern California, and the western Dakotas continue to be in fire danger. Missoula County Sheriff T.J. McDermott held a press conference yesterday in Frenchtown, announcing the capture of a woman suspected of committing 2 murders 4 years ago.
On July 31st at approximately 2 p.m., Carissa Jill Hardy, a Frenchtown resident, 51 years of age, was taken into custody without incident. Hardy is being held on charges of deliberate homicide for the 2013 deaths of 2 individuals, whose names are not being released at this time.
McDermott said an investigation has been underway for more than a year now, involving several different agencies.
In 2016, these crimes were reported to law enforcement, and the Sheriff's Office opened up an investigation into a complex set of circumstances, which has been ongoing for almost a year. We're working with multiple agencies, including the FBI and the Missoula Police Department. Many details cannot be released pending the completion of our investigation.
Hardy will appear in Missoula Justice Court this afternoon, where all charges will be revealed. 22-year-old Anthony Mascarenas was found not guilty of attempted deliberate homicide yesterday in district court, but the jury did find him guilty of another charge. Chief Deputy County Attorney Jason Marks led the prosecution.
Mr. Mascarenas was charged with attempted deliberate homicide for shooting his fiancée outside of their apartment on Howell Street here in Missoula. After deliberating, the jury came back with a guilty verdict on the lesser-included offense of assault with a weapon.
Mark said there was one complication that hampered the prosecution. The victim did not testify.
The victim in this case, she suffered a very significant injury to her leg. She ended up being life-flighted to Harborview in Seattle, and then went out of state after her discharge from Harborview, and she was not available for testimony at trial.
Mascarenas could receive a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison when he's sentenced in September. 2 men were arrested Monday night after police were called out to the scene of a car crash at the intersection of 14th and Russell. Police Public Information Officer Travis Welsh said police found one of the vehicles abandoned.
The occupants of one of the vehicles had actually left the scene prior to their arrival. They soon discovered a possible reason why, when the car that they had occupied had been reported stolen in Billings. The officers began searching the area and eventually found one of the male occupants in a nearby casino.
The man in the casino, identified as 22-year-old Kenneth Colbert, who initially lied about his identity, is found to have warrants out for his arrest. A sheriff's deputy later picked up another occupant of the stolen vehicle.
The second male was eventually located as well when a sheriff's deputy attempted to stop and speak with a male walking down the street near South Avenue, and the male actually ran from him. There was a foot chase, a brief one. The male was apprehended